Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, so excited to be here tonight. It is 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, May 28th, 2021. And I have a special guest joining us today. I'm so excited to be bringing on Kyle Purnell. He's the creator of Wholesome. He was the effect that I just reviewed yesterday. Well, actually, reviewed a week ago that you just saw yesterday, and a whole other lot of really cool magic. I have it all linked in the description below. So if you want to take a look at anything that we're talking about or see some of the other work that Kyle has out, please definitely take a look at the links in the description and follow him on Instagram. There's a link there too. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull Kyle in right away. I'm so excited to get started.
Hey,
Kyle, how are you?
it's the best day of my life. How are you?
Better than I deserve.
Yes, I love that. Now, let me just hop right in here for a second. You mentioned Instagram, and usually I'm not one to plug Instagram, but I am about 80 followers away from 1,000. And
go.
I am. So if we get 80 viewers, and if each one of you follows me once, which I hear is pretty standard, I would give you all a high five every time I see you. And I've been told I'm pretty good at high fives. I've been practicing. I've been honing my skills. You have to learn something for quarantine, right? So
yeah, who are you high five? Just like yourself, or like, honey, hey, give me a high five.
I'm an equal opportunity fiver. I'm good at all sorts of fives, even virtual fives. I got you, man.
Hey, there it is. Have you ever seen the effect? This is totally an aside, but I'm thinking about it. Have you ever seen the trick where you go, "Hey, give me five," and you get like a back palm $5 bill? Have you ever seen this?
No, but I think I know where you're going.
Oh yeah, it's just like you have like a back palm a card or something, and you say, "Hey, give me five," and then you go, "Wow, thanks, great."
That's hilarious. I feel like that's a Diamond Jim Tyler thing.
It might be. It's Jim is he's a bit of a goof. I have some stories about him that I'll tell you later.
All right,
not on air though. So Kyle, thank you so much for being here. I want to make sure that our audience knows this is a Q&A, right? So.
Sure.
I have some questions prepared for you that I'd love you to answer or kindly not answer. But I also have I want to encourage the audience. Hey, you got questions. This is the time to ask him. All right, he's a magic creator with a lot of different stuff out,
sure.
which I don't need to tell you guys. But sweet. Okay, I'll go ahead and get us rolling, get us started here because
all right.
I have questions.
Bring it on.
This is a classic one. This is a question that I think every magician's been asked about a bajillion times by both other magicians and lay people, but I think it'll help kind of for those who don't know about you, kind of get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
What's your getting into magic story?
The origin story.
Yeah, it's like you're Batman, well, hopefully not the parents in the movie theater and all that stuff, but I would love to know. Maybe less dark, I hope.
Wow, good heavens. I'll it is a lot less dark than that.
Oh, good.
So I'll give you the synopsis version.
Synaptic.
Yeah, the synaptic version. I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say it's right. So, from the time I could speak, more or less, I've been someone who stutters when they talk. Some people call them stutterers, so I'm a stutterer. And it kind of runs in the family. So I stutter, my sister stutters, my dad stutters, my grandpa stuttered when he was alive. My daughter's learning to talk, but there's a fairly good chance that my daughter and my son are probably going to stutter to some degree. I mean, it's just kind of a familial genetic thing, right? And fortunately, it was caught very young. I told you my dad stuttered, but or stutters, because it's not really something that ever goes away. It's just something you kind of learn to manage. And my mom is a speech therapist, so I'm both, just fun. And I promise this has to do with magic. So because I grew up being someone who stuttered, talking was always very, very difficult for me. And especially getting into middle school and junior high, it got to the point where, not necessarily explicitly, but on some subconscious back burner of my mind, I knew I wanted to be able to do something that most people couldn't do, because most people could do something that I couldn't do, which was, of course, speak. So I wanted. It was kind of along the mind frame of, yeah, I might not be able to get out my words the way I want them to, but I can pull up 7 of clubs out of your ass, which is kind of it's nice.
Challenge accepted.
I'll do it silently, but I can still do it.
Do you do like the Brian Brushwood, like the psychic?
Yes.
Instead of fake blood, though, it's something. Oh, that's gross. Okay, let's
Yo,
topic
right,
change.
yeah.
Oh, let's go over here.
Whackity schmackity doo. All right, we are. So, I
Started it off right, Kyle. There's
so basically, I got into Magic then, and it was almost immediately a confidence booster, which was silly because I sucked. But but my confidence didn't know that. So I kept going. And what's funny is that it kind of did have the effect where the more deep I got into the Magic world, the more confidence it did give me. Now, of course, there's not necessarily a direct correlation between that and not stuttering, but often if someone talks about, as someone who stutters talks about a topic that they feel like they're an authority on, then it is less likely that they're going to stutter as opposed to something else, of course, right? And the other thing is, too, another interesting stuttering factoid that you can use next time you play Jeopardy is people who stutter tend to not stutter as much if they are acting, right? And the mentality there is that if you're acting, you are kind of putting on a role. You are no longer Kyle, the person who stutters. You are John, or you are Superman. You are Spider-Man. You're Lois Lane, and so that kind of, I think, plays into it too. Because when I'm performing, it's kind of a form of acting. I wouldn't say I'm an actor, but I would say that it's a form of acting. I'm no longer Kyle, the person who stutters, but I'm Kyle, the magician. And it's not a conscious switch. But when I start performing, I tend to not stutter as much as I do elsewhere.
That's interesting, but it also sounds exhausting.
It can be.
I mean, I think all of us who perform have that. We were talking about this a little bit before we came on live, but the idea that that there is that kind of Superman role that you have to take on, and it's very. I read a study one time that was hooked up a classical pianist to a bunch of sensors to test their exertion, right? It was galvanic skin tests and lactic acid buildup and these kinds of things to kind of see how much they exerted themselves. They found out that a classical pianist during a concert would expend more of their energy and calories than an Olympic athlete who performed for the same amount of time.
Wow.
So there is the sense that performers, we work really hard because you have to sometimes provide all of the energy. Sometimes you get that nice back and forth. But yeah, that quiet, reserved kind of just, I'm not performing now. I can relax. I can recharge the batteries. I can.
Yeah.
Extroverted introverts is how I find a lot of us are.
It's exactly how a lot of us are. I'm no exception, for sure. And what's interesting is something, and then I just forgot it. So hopefully,
well, you'll have an opportunity to remember. Don't worry about it. I got other things.
Yeah.
I actually have a question here. It says, Kyle, what is your best card slate and why?
Oh. That's an interesting question. Best as in favorite, or best as in like favorite one I created, or best one best
Let's
that
go
I
with
feel like
let's go with. Can we do both? Can we do two? Can we do two of them?
yeah.
Like the best
Okay.
one you created, if you feel like talking
Yeah.
about that. I don't know if
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
because that's cool. And then also like the universal one that everybody might know.
Sure. All right. I don't know how much people are familiar with my work. I still feel like I'm in that weird phase right now where like I don't know how known my name is and how known my body work is. So it's like it's weird for me to assume that people know me, but it's also weird to assume that they don't. So I'm going to assume that people don't know me or my body work as I talk and explain. Alan, have you ever seen my B cuss move?
I don't believe that I've had the pleasure.
Would you like to see it, and then I can talk about it?
I absolutely. I would love to see that.
All right. So I have to tell you that before I got into magic, I used to love video games. It's true. I used to love all the classic video games, but I had a problem, and the problem is I didn't have any video games. This was the problem,
Would be a problem.
or video game controllers, or a console. Or a TV, or a house. I was homeless, Alan. Hold me. I digress. The point is, and I'll get to the magic so I can actually promise that I can answer your question here. So I would used to, and I don't know if I'm whitewashed here or not, but I used to design my own characters. So I want to show you one of my characters that I designed. That got me a little bit of notoriety here, Alan. There we go. We'll fill this guy in here. Do you recognize this guy?
That's Pac-Man. That's
You didn't say Pac-Man.
That's
name on the Ackman page.
That's
you don't say Pac-Man.
Nondescript circular thing muncher.
Yeah, circular thing muncher. Yes,
that's a thing.
That was the first name, and then my wife renamed him. This is Snackman.
Snackman. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's much better name. I see why you married her.
Yeah, well, yes. And I used to get hours and hours of entertainment in the dark, secluded corner of my box I was living in. I don't live there anymore. Now it's just my Xbox. Sorry, I had to see.
No, that's what this place is for. As much as you want to ham it up, you ham it up.
Anyway, Alan, I want to make sure you can see Snackman. And if you were here, you could hold him. You can make sure completely examinable. And I want you to watch because and I want to make sure you can still see Snackman. Yes,
I can still see Snackman.
Okay, watch. Go waka.
Whoa, yeah.
Watch Snackman. Whoop. Looks like he crawled.
Oh, I love it. That's
and
neat.
Of course, if you were here, you can rub him. Make sure that he doesn't actually come off, and of course you can keep him. And this would be for you, right? So that's my favorite. It's kind of liberal use of card slate. It's a business card slate, but there's no gimmicks in it, and it's designed for business cards, which is really neat, and it's a really cool. And it's got a lot of different applications. You can use that slide to do a torn and restored corner. You can use that slide to do like an ink matrix kind of thing. So there's just a bunch of different things you can do with that one slide. So that's my favorite, probably my favorite card slate that I've come up with, even though it's not technically a deck of cards. Although you can do it with some cards. My favorite deck slate is the Guy Hollingworth Fall Shuffle.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just gorgeous.
Because it's good.
It's so good, and I don't have anything else to expand on it. It's a solid slate, and I love it.
That's awesome. Excellent. What was the name of the first one? Because I want to make sure people are directed to go.
It's called the B Cuss. Do you know why I call it that?
I don't know.
Oh, just because.
I'm home. So, well,
It's called the business card utility slate, the BCUS.
the B cuss. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. Oh, well, I thought it was because it was because it was like you're saying, well, it's the B word, like it's the cuss word that's the B cuss. And I was like, I don't know. Is he about to say something that I'm gonna have to like change the settings on YouTube now? I'm gonna have to. Oh well, there goes my monetization. There, there it
Yeah.
goes.
Not yet. No,
No, there's the B cuss.
just
No.
the BCUS.
I also have another question that asks if you have any tips for the double lift. This particular viewer is really big into the like learning every way there is to do a double lift. I don't know if they found their perfect one yet, but
Oh, nice.
if you have one, I've shown a couple, but I would love to see your thoughts on that.
I don't know if I'll be able to tell them anything that they don't already know, but I can tell you the stuff that I do. Um, I do a pinky count break because I think that's the best way to get a break under 2 cards. Um, I think this can be nice under the right situation, but you want to be equipped with different ways to be able to do a double lift under certain circumstances. I should probably ask, what's the level of exposure we can do here?
Nobody's gonna find this that isn't a magician.
Okay, all right.
The only thing I have is don't unless it's your effect, don't expose marketed effects.
Sure.
That's the only rule I really have.
All right.
Thanks for asking.
So, yeah, no problem. So I am a absolute believer in the pinky count. It can be a little daunting at first, but it's one of those things that really lends itself to muscle memory. So I always just pull down 2 and get a break here. And then I immediately go in. And again, I imagine if someone is this concerned with the double lift, then you probably already know this, and your double lift is probably fine. But if there are some people just getting into magic who are just starting a double lift, one of the things I see a lot is you do here and you kind of push it down as if gravity's not a thing, right? But gravity is a thing, right? So when you come here, just let it fall down, right? And so once you get to like halfway and you're at that 90-degree mark, it seems counterintuitive. It seems like you wouldn't want to drop it because then you have this fear in your head that it's going to split, but it's not going to split. You just let it drop and it's just going to go down, and it just adds that 20% level of deception to it. So I go here.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip.
You just drop it down like that.
It's very reminiscent for me of kind of the diverted mentality, right? You don't want to like manhandle the cards, like just handle them well but simply,
Absolutely.
They're baby bird. You don't want them to fly away, but you don't want to crush them.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So that's excellent. Thank you. Any tips on the pinky count? Because people are going, "Oh my gosh, the pinky count is so awkward. Oh, I hate the pinky count." Or what's
Are they saying that?
The pinky count. They are. there might be a little bit of creative
fabrication
of a type. No, I mean, well, I'll tell you, my personal feelings aside, because I hate the pinky count. It's great. It's a great move. I hate it. But yeah, some people are going, yeah,
that's
like
verbatim.
the pinky count is so awkward. That's. So, what are your tips on that? So, for people who mere mortals like ourselves, how do you?
Yeah. I love the pinky count. It's one of those. It's so versatile because once you get it, it doesn't have to be awkward. In fact, you literally just like I'm counting like 10 cards right now, and it doesn't look like there's any if.
No, you're not doing anything.
Right. And so yes, but it can be a little bit awkward to learn. So the way I would do it is I would do one. And that just do 1 10 times, right? So just pinky count 1, and then stop, and start from the beginning. 1, oops, that's 2. So and then if you screw up, just do 1 again. 1, then go to the top. 1, and then do that 10 times. Then do 2 10 times. 1, 2, stop. 1, 2, stop. 1, 2, and then do that 10 times, and then do 3 10 times, then do 4 10 times. Yeah, and you will get annoyed as hell, and it will be
But you'll have it.
But once you can do 10 times in a row, there's no way you're not going to be able to do a pinky count.
And your hand placement on that too, because it doesn't look like you're holding that in standard mechanics grip. It looks like you're holding it in like, or are you?
I have big hands. I don't
Is that what? Yeah. Yes.
I'm 6'5", so I'm a pretty tall guy.
That's pretty tall.
Which means I have pretty big hands. So it might look like fingers are spread further than they actually are, or than they would normally. But I do find because you're kind of using it as a lever, it's easier the closer you actually get to the corner. So I definitely don't put it up here. I go down to the very corner, and then it's easier to get.
Oh man, you make that look effortless. Yeah. Well, I think we got our answer on that. And that's excellent. Thank you, because that's something I don't do, and I've done tutorials here on the channel, but that's something that I wanted to cover, but I know next to nothing about doing it in any kind of real way, so I wouldn't presume to teach. So thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. I wanted to ask you too about like one of the things I had a question for, because I always prepare questions too, just in case.
Sure.
Because sometimes, well, not always. We have a pretty good group here, but sometimes you'll get people who like spam like some kind of like dumb comment that doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
So like for that time, usually I'll cover that with my own question and have a moderator deal with them. I want to ask about like so for me, I never really got into creation of magic, of original magic. I do a lot of DIY stuff. I do a lot of make my own loops, make my own magic coloring books, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm hardcore. But but I've only ever created a couple of things that are uniquely mine. And it sounds like you perform, but then you also obviously create magic. And I'm curious about what that process looks like for you. How do you sit down and say, "Hey, I have to create something today," or allot yourself, or is it just spontaneous, or how does that kind of look?
It's interesting. So I love how we were able to talk concretely about a tip for the double lift and a tip for pinky count, but
and then creativity is like
it's tough because I don't have a linear process. What I do have, and I feel like a lot of magicians and just a lot of people who are kind of consumed by perfecting an art and a craft might be plagued by something I'm plagued with as well. And I don't mind sharing this. And I imagine many people aren't probably thinking that this is going to go this direction. But last February, I was diagnosed with OCD. And there's a lot of, obviously, a lot of very hellish things that are secondary to that. But I don't want to focus on those right now. What I will focus on is that there's actually some good things that come out of it too. My mind is naturally obsessive, and which can be beneficial when trying to create something. And so when I found out that I loved the idea of coming up with weird new ideas and weird ways of using things and props, and I just kind of obsess over it, and I always think about it, and sometimes to the detriment of other things in life. And so I'll give you an example. With Wholesome, I had no idea. It didn't start with a hole at all. It didn't even start with a torn corner. What it started with was the concept. I was playing around with the idea that I knew, and again, I won't expose it per se, but we'll say that there is some rotation involved in here, right? And I was playing around with rotating cards in certain ways and discrepancies and hiding discrepancies in certain ways, very reminiscent of Paul Harris, actually. And I came across this concept, but I had no use for it. And so that's when kind of the obsession came in. And literally, I just always had the deck in my hand and was playing around with, do I want to use the deck? Do I want to use the box? Do I want to have the box in the deck? Do I just want to do it with two cards and then another card perpendicular? Do I want it to look like there's only two cards, but there's actually a third card? And and so all these things were all these variables, and I didn't even know what the effect was yet, right? And so then I started. So I started just kind of mixing and matching, right? Let me try tearing a corner with three cards. Let me try hole punching with a whole deck of cards. Let me try writing an initial with a deck of cards without the box, and just doing all these different permutations and combinations of things. That's the thing that really gives me a high. And then when you find a combination that is just like a chef's kiss, it is unlike anything else, right? And the Wholesome is that chef's kiss combination that I found.
And so for anybody who's tuned in and didn't see my review yesterday, Wholesome is Kyle's newest release. It's a moving hole effect that's impromptu. It's amazing. There's a link for it in the description. You should go get it. It's awesome. I wanted to ask you about that too, because when you were talking about that, I would not. You don't put off like any kind of vibe that would tell me that you had OCD or anything, but it made a lot more sense whenever I am thinking back about watching Wholesome, how like concise and particular every single shot in that whole video is. There's not a wasted breath anywhere in there. It's perfectly to the point and concise. And when you said that, I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if that maybe played a role in how perfectly put together Wholesome is.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I couldn't say one way or
Well, I suppose not, right? But but it is something that struck me about that, because I've seen a lot of other projects, right? I've reviewed a lot of other things. I bought a lot of Magic. I've watched a lot of downloadable videos from everywhere. And Wholesome was one of the like most clear, concise, almost like a mentalism effect whenever I was watching it, because I'm secretly thinking to myself, those questions you have as you're watching an effect or something, and you go, okay, yeah, but where's this going, or is this, or what about that, or and then like you would answer it in the next breath. And that was so amazing to me. I was like, I thought like, okay, is he a magician? Is he a mentalist? Is he reading my mind through that? Did he send me a special review copy that was just for me?
This is just for you. Make sure you don't share that with anybody.
But it was amazing. It was really amazing. I was so the quality of instruction in it is superb. So for anybody who hasn't seen it, you need to see it.
Well, that's awesome, and I'll speak to that just a little bit. I would probably attribute my how do I want to say this? I would attribute my attention to detail and instruction less to any diagnoses and more to training as a school-based instructor. And teaching is something I do daily, and it's always really important for me to find a good balance of teaching something very clearly without insulting someone's intelligence, right? And because that's something that I'm always thinking of, I'm always trying to find that balance. It's always, I'm always trying to be very mindful of it.
And it shows, and that's something that I when you put it that way, that's something that I think that perfectly encapsulates what I wanted to say but couldn't find the words for. Is it seems like you have the idea that like there's no such thing as a stupid question. It's just like, look, you have a question. This is something that you're probably thinking about, or somebody might be thinking about, and in the moment you may not realize that you could probably come to the answer by yourself. which could happen, but
yeah, absolutely. But I appreciate that. That's very, very kind.
No, it's excellent. You made a fan out of me with that, with that one review. So I was like, right. Wow, this is great. I want to make sure I'm not ignoring my comments too, because I have some more comments too for that. I want to get into and make sure I get some questions for you. Okay, I'm sorry. My studio lights are so bright I can't read my screen. Uh, um, that's a terrible screen name. I'm sorry, man. It says not Harvey Weinstein
Oh, jeez.
asks, can hike some be performed with any deck of cards? Is there a gimmick involved? Missed the trick. Sorry. Are you talking about wholesome? Maybe wholesome. Maybe he's
Yeah.
mistyped it. Can wholesome be performed with any deck of cards? Yeah, I
The
mean,
answer is yes and no.
yes and
Uh,
no.
y-
Could you try again?
um, yes, it can be done with any deck of cards, no preparation. But you'll find that there are some designs of deck that are less
Conducive.
conducive. Thank you. That's the word to the effect. So just grab a set of standard bikes, and you'll be able to do it. There's no gimmick.
Yeah, and I mean it's it looks like there is like whatever like sometimes you read the marketing thing and it's like there's no gimmicks, there's no like it's impromptu, but like impromptu always means you got to like prepare something and carry it with
Then you
you
got
all
to
the
go to the
time.
bathroom. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like that's not impromptu. Like no, you need to be able to like like there's I want to start actually rebranding it impromptu, so it's an actually impromptu effect, because there's like
Impromptu.
it's impromptu and then there's impromptu, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and I agree. So the thing with the Pac-Man thing that's impromptish. Uh, that's one of those. Go to the bathroom for 20 seconds, and you come back and you're ready. Like you don't have to bring anything along with you. You could borrow business cards, and you just prep something in just a little bit. Like you just prep two drawings, and you're good to go. But in this case, the wholesome is, to borrow a phrase, impromptu.
impromptu. Take it, run with it. just
I,
credit me.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible effect, and if you haven't seen it, not Harvey Weinstein. Let's hope it's not actually okay. It's like that seems a little sus. But if you check out the link in the description I have for Wholesome, you'll be able to see that. It says some effects by Kyle Purnell, and then it has Wholesome is one of them. Take you right to the page. You can watch the full trailer, or watch my video review on it that I put out yesterday.
Can I give you a little bit of an insider story regarding filming of that trailer?
I would love that. Oh my gosh.
So, the idea, the original idea, was that I was doing the pitch and I was saying, and wholesome is, after you move the hole, you can give it out immediately to have them, to hold and to cherish for the rest of your life. My name is Kyle Purnell, reminding you to stay wholesome. Then at that point, Eric from off screen was going to say, "Cut! That was great, Kyle. Let's just do that the whole thing one more time." And then I was going to say, "Mother," and then and then that's where it was going to cut. And I thought that'd be really hilarious. But apparently, it didn't work out well for the aesthetic they were going for.
Let's go. We got a little BTS, a little behind the scenes. Not the Korean K-pop group.
No.
That's awesome. I saw it in my mind, so it's gonna have to be good enough.
Good.
I want to ask you too about how long you've been working with Penguin, because I know you have like quite a few effects out published through them. How did that come about? What's that relationship like? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, the relationship's really good. I love the guys at Penguin, and I think they always do a really good job, and they always take in consideration what I want as the creator, and it's really great. I think it started just probably 2013, when they kind of put out the Penguin Partner Program. And I put a few, like just a handful of things on the Penguin Partner Program. And then there was one of those Penguin Expo events in 2015 in Philly that I went to. and Dalton Wayne was there, and I showed him what's now known as Business Trip. Um, and he loved it, and so we did that with them. And then from that point on, then I started going to conventions, and I started meeting and knowing Sean a little bit, and showed him some other material. I think at that point he realized that I'm not a one trick pony. Like I have some other things that I wanted to share. So now it's at the point where we got a pretty good relationship, and I've actually got a Penguin Live lecture coming out.
Right on. What is that?
It is, I believe, July 4th, but I don't know how public knowledge that is. So I hope we're not filming or recording this, right?
Oh, no, this isn't good. No, what?
No one's watching this. No one heard that.
A couple people are watching it.
No.
That's excellent. I'll make sure to let people know about that as we get closer to that too. That's great.
Thank you.
Well, awesome. I hear it's a great experience. My friend Diamond Jim has been on the program. We've had a couple, or doing Penguin Live. David Hyra, a couple of people I know down here in the Dallas area have done Penguin Lives, and it's awesome. I love that format too. That's just like you don't really find that anywhere. I love that Penguin's taking that up.
It's a really nice format, and in the middle of COVID, they were taking some really good precautions while not sacrificing the quality of the lecture. Like obviously, it would have been better if we had a live audience of spectators and magicians and yada yada yada. But given the circumstances, they did the best that you could ask, and it was amazing.
Awesome. I'm gonna be there front row whenever you go live. That's great.
All right.
Yeah, unless I'm gigging because it's July 4th. But if I am, then I'll buy it and I'll watch it later. But I'll try to be there.
Awesome. Yeah. It was fun. Please let me know if you watch it and if it sucks. So I hope it doesn't.
That means you care, right? I think we all wonder that. That's one of those and you never really know. That's the thing that's difficult about the type of work that we do is anything you're doing ever good? I don't know. I mean, like, I hope that the work I put out is good and people tell me it is, but is it? And you always have that. Yeah. I always have that secret fear.
You always know when it's bad, though.
You always know when it's bad. Well, let's talk about that because it's something I want to talk to you about. Do you believe that there is such thing as bad audiences or just bad performers or a performer that had a bad day? I'm going to put you on the spot. I am, but I'll tell you my personal. I'll let you know what I think afterwards, so you're not like on the hook too much.
Yeah. So I don't like the framing of either or. I think that's a false dichotomy, and I think we can probably find 10 more answers in that continuum.
Oh, sure, I agree.
I believe that there can be bad performances, there can be bad nights, and there can be bad audiences. But I also believe that even if the audience is a bad audience, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and take the blame for it, because even if it isn't my fault, if I treat it as it is, the only thing that can do is it's going to improve me for next time.
That's exactly my thoughts. Those are exactly my thoughts. I always treat it like I hear like that crowd's terrible. It's like, well, that doesn't help you improve at all. That just scapegoats the audience, which I don't think is the right answer. You know. So thank you. I think we agree.
Shitty audiences. But again, like you can't use that as a scapegoat. Like, you acknowledge it and you internalize it and say, okay, what could I do to win over this not so great audience next time?
You ever get those? And this is, I mean, feel free not to share if you don't care to. But like there are times where I've done a show, right? I've come off. I've done like 20 shows in a row or something. Everything's great. Everybody loves me. I've got booked for next year. Everything's wonderful. And I do this one show, and like I like walk out after the thing and I go, I used to have talent. What happened? What happened is there something wrong? Am I broken?
You know, it's it's interesting you say that, because um, I sometimes I absolutely feel that way. I'm like, wow,
You're not alone, man. You're not alone.
there is a trained monkey who can do this better than I can,
Uh-huh.
because uh, right, because sometimes you get this feeling like, okay, like, if I go to an opera, that opera singer is clearly trained for years, and you can tell, right? Like, it is an
Mm-hmm.
explicit, overt skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone is a world famous painter, you can tell, like, it is just a gorgeous, explicit skill, right? But with magic, people don't know how to, like, laymen don't know how to assess the quality of magic or the quality of a magician,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
it's not out of the realm of possibility for someone to think, oh well, he just beat me to the magic shop, right?
Yeah.
And if I would have gone there too, I could be able to do what he's doing, right? And so the skilled services that we provide are often very covert, and I like to liken it to the idea of one of my favorite Olympic sports, which is ice luge, because everybody poos on ice luge, right? Like, they're like, oh, well, why is that even an Olympic sport? I mean, they're just sledding. Like, no, they
No,
aren't,
they aren't.
right? It looks like they are, but there's a lot of skilled services that they're providing that does not. I mean, it's covert skill, right? Because it looks like
They
they're just
make it look
sledding,
that
but they are
easy.
literally going literally breakneck speed. Secondly, they are using like these micro movements to shave off fractions of seconds that you can't even see, right? And it's amazing. And so I can sympathize with the sport of luge, right? And so sometimes when I do feel that way, and I feel uh, completely down and out, and I feel like anybody can do what I'm doing, I stop and I say, Kyle, it's not true. You are skilled. You are talented. You are passionate about this art. Kyle, don't forget this. You are a loser.
You're a loser. I totally thought you were gonna end that with and doggone it, people like you.
No, but no, I
You're a
got to tell you,
loser.
there's really nothing. There's really nothing like the confidence boost you get when you remind yourself how big a loser you are. And and Alan, I don't know you too well, but based on our conversation, I'm assuming that you're a big loser too, right?
I'm a massive loser. I hog loogies while I luge. Oh man, my face hurts from smiling. Oh my goodness.
And I don't want to keep our audience out of it too. I mean, I assume a vast majority of them are big losers as well.
Massive. They're
Loser.
we call them the Minotaurs here. The Magic Minute Minotaurs. It's like
Oh,
a
I
high
like
school team. I started with like Magic Men and Women, like or I'm sorry, Minute Men and Women, like like
that.
you like. But then there was always like men and women, like so it was always like a. And then I didn't like want to
Yeah,
like have a gender differentiation. I was just like
sure.
Minotaur, make it easy.
I like that.
Everybody
Yeah,
falls under that umbrella. So
that's nice.
yeah, I wish I could say I came up with it all by myself, but I had some wonderful feedback from the community. So
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you maybe one more thing, if that's okay, and then I want to because we're getting up to that hour mark that because we only have Kyle up to an hour, and then he's got to get
Oh,
going.
no,
So
yeah.
it's about there. So people are going loser in the chat. Le who, j'ai her.
Oh man.
So I want to make sure you guys get your questions in before we get too far. Okay. Sorry, I'm out of water too. My goodness. So for Wholesome,
Mhm.
what was the I don't know if this because I want to talk about make sure that we promote your most recent project. I'm curious about all of them. We just don't have the time to go into all of them.
Sure.
With Wholesome, what is the turnaround time on a project like that? Because it
Mm.
looks like you worked with P3 Studios. It looks like, which is awesome because that I'm sure you had. There's a really nice list of credits of people who were involved in the project and some really big names. And I was curious about like from inception to finished product. How long did that take you?
Yeah, so I filmed that the same weekend that I filmed the lecture, right?
Okay.
So,
Oh, perfect.
um,
So we're already in studio.
so I was already in the studio,
Great.
and they kind of did that on purpose. It was like, hey, we want to book you for a lecture. Do you also have anything that you want to film with us? And so I pitched this, and they liked it. So we did that. So that was March 6th.
Oh wow. So not that long ago at all.
No, it was not very long at all. And I actually did another project too that
Oh.
before our hour is
Oh.
up, if you'd like, I can gem something else too
Uh,
that might
uh,
be coming up. That's literally a first sneak peek at something.
oh my gosh. I would be honored.
Oh, cool. Want to
Wow.
see it now?
Does a does a bear defecate in a deciduous forest?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see it. Yeah.
All right. Alan and Minotaurs, I'm going to dispel a myth. Can everybody see me okay, or is it whitewash?
We're bleached out a little bit there. That's better now. There you go.
There? Yeah?
Now
Good?
it's getting.
Yeah.
I was doing it
Okay.
again.
You know what I'll do? I'll just
It's a
oh
struggle
man,
is real, man. I'll tell you.
it's
Studio
so
lights are rough.
okay. Let me see here. What can I do? What can I do? Let me see what happens if I turn this off and then turn this on.
Guys, my Kyle's away. Everybody. Oh, he's back. Never mind. Never mind.
All right. All right. It's green. It's grainy, but hopefully you can see the colors
It's
now.
grainy, but we can see it. Awesome.
No, bleached.
Awesomer. It's still
Man, that's
still a little
frustrating.
bit.
Oh,
Man, it's because there's no polarizing filter on the lens. That's what's getting you.
yeah. All right.
I got one here. Do you want to borrow it?
Yeah, if you can just toss it over.
Sure. Here you go.
All right. Let me try one more thing, and if not, you guys are just gonna have to wait till release then. Let me try to rotate here so we have a little bit of a different angle of the light. Nope. Still
No,
bleached.
oh man.
Uh,
Uh
sorry, guys.
oh well. Can you tell us what it's called?
Yes, I can. It's called Rainbow Road.
Rainbow Road.
Rainbow Road.
That's reminiscent of Thor. Is that like
It's more reminiscent of Mario, actually. Mario Kart.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with it. That's just where I
But
got.
that's where you got the name. My
Yeah.
my son is a huge fan of rainbows, so I think if I just told him that, he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, so long."
I'll tell you what it's about. It is my version of a rainbow finished packet trick, right? Except you end clean, and everything is examinable, and there's no ditching, there's no gimmick cards.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's also got a cool technique in there that's going to be published for the first time, either here or in the lecture, because I put it in both, and it's called the tunnel transpo. That has a really cool, unique visual to it that I think you guys are going to like. So that's called Rainbow Road, and it should be out sometime this year.
That's awesome. Well, maybe I'll ask you about reviewing that too. If you that sounds awesome.
Of course.
Cool. You see, I'm wearing my "Be a Nice Human" shirt.
I love being a nice human. It's my favorite thing.
Oh man, it takes effort sometimes. It does. It's a reminder for everyone else as it is for me. It's got the rainbow pattern on there.
Yes.
So it's like I knew it's my mentalism things. Yes, I was.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question.
I,
I knew it every time something popped in my
I
head.
like wouldn't even have to do this live stream. Like I already knew everything you were gonna say. It's written
It's
down right
uncanny. It's
here on this
uncanny.
tablet. No, that would actually be that would be an amazing effect. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to do that for my virtual shows. Oh, speaking of virtual shows, have you done any virtual shows? Is that the thing that you messed around with, or
No, I mean, no. I
not for
haven't.
you?
Yeah, it's not. It's not for me because it doesn't have to be. I'm fortunate enough to have a full-time job,
Hmm.
even with when COVID hit. So I wasn't put into that place of
Survival
necessity.
mode.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't in
yeah.
survival mode. I was very fortunate, very blessed for that. Um, but if I was, I probably would have done it. I probably wouldn't have loved it because I kind of trained my magic brain, as I'm sure you and a lot of other magicians do too, like to 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 think in the trenches. Like I
Hmm.
and so
So
like when I come
planning
up,
that
so when
much
I come up with
ahead.
things, so when I come up with things, I do think of angles. I do think of pocket management. I do think of, but I don't, So, and I didn't want to necessarily because I'm not in survival mode. I didn't want to exert that much effort to come up with all these other rules that I have to have in my head and all these other luxuries I have, right? Because Zoom shows, the world is your holdout, right?
Hmm.
And which gives you a lot of nice thing. It gives you a lot of nice luxuries, but it also it's not something I wanted to be invested in at that point, and I
Fair
and I
enough.
knew things were going to open up eventually, so I wanted to keep going with the way my brain is already trained by still thinking and developing things for the worker in the trenches.
And fair enough. I think that's a perfectly uh, good plan. Like, why invest in the thing that you don't need to, like, the
Right.
mental energy. Um, I didn't come out with my virtual show for like 6 months after the pandemic hit.
Oh, really?
Like I took the Apple approach. I sat back, I watched how everybody else did it, what succeeded, what failed, and then I came out with mine. you know? So
I think that's a valid
I
approach
was
too.
like, because it's like, because here's the thing, it's a wholly new format. It's a concept sell to anybody who's buying it, and if you do it bad, I mean that can hurt your reputation as a magician, right? I mean, so it's like for a lot of reasons, like it's kind of a scary thing to just go ahead. Oh yeah, I'm going to do virtual shows now. Like it's not a small commitment; it's a huge
Right.
one.
Sure.
So I totally get. There were a lot of people who were like, I'm not doing that. I'll just wait. And I think that's a perfectly valid and good idea for a lot of magicians. I was fortunate enough
Sure. Yeah.
that I have a studio here. I'm a YouTuber, so it was very easy for me to implement. I already understand camera angles and switching and audio
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So that for me, that was just like it's just sat in the chair and I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's thankfully I'm actually back in person now, which is good
Sure.
for most stuff. I wanted to ask you one more thing before I let you go, if I could, because I think
Sure.
this is an important tip for the audience. It's something we talked about briefly before we went live, but it was about the change from the glasses you used to wear to the glasses you wear now. And I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, but if you look at the thumbnail on this video, I perfectly color matched your glasses for the like attention to detail. That's exactly your red on your glasses, at least as
Oh,
a.
wow.
So yeah, you're welcome. No,
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
no, but it's important, right? And the reason I did that is for the reason that I think you're going to tell everybody why you have red glasses now.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So it actually it's one of those things that seems kind of trivial, but if you really think about it and you think about it in terms of branding, it's invaluable. And I first learned about that kind of mentality from a Dan Harlan lecture years ago. And one of the attendees at the lecture uh, asked him about his hair because he had kind of crazy hair, right? It was shaved on
Mm-hmm.
the side, super long in the middle, and I think he was asking it kind of tongue in cheek, but Dan had a serious answer, and he said, "Yeah, let's talk about the hair." He said, and I'll never forget this. He said, I believe that as an entertainer, as a performer, when you walk in anywhere, whether you're performing or not, people need to know that you're somebody. They don't need to know who you are, but they need to know that you're somebody. There needs to be something, for lack of better words. This is me talking now. It's not damn, but there needs to be something iconic, right, um, about your image. If you are trying to be quote unquote somebody, like there's probably a better way of saying that, but
Well, I refer to it as peacocking.
I don't disagree with that.
Look at me, everybody. Look at
Yeah,
me.
and and so I was never one to want to do something crazy with my hair. One, because it's fallen out, and
Hey, brother, I
two,
know it's all right. There's a club that I belong to, and I believe in it so much that I'm now the president of the club, and I'll
oh
invite
yeah,
you. Yeah,
oh yeah.
it's a
Well,
club.
thank
It's a
you.
club
I
for
definitely
hair
know
for
the invite.
men.
Yes,
It's
give me a few years. But yeah, it's one of those things where I didn't want to do anything with my hair because of that, and because I that's kind of like a permanent iconic thing, right? Or at least semi-permanent. But I loved when I thought of the idea of the glasses, which of course I'm not the first person to think of iconic glasses. I'm not even the first magician to have red glasses. I mean, Helder Ramirez beat me to it by years, you know. Um, but I but the motivation wasn't to copy him. It was I got the idea of having red glasses, and I thought that would work for me. That would work for what I want people to see me as. So I'm going to do it. Um, and it has been really, like, I don't regret it for 1 second, because people, I am now the red glasses guy, right? And what's really nice now too is that it's not permanent. So if I ever don't want to be peacocking, I can just have my less obnoxious glasses on if I'm going out with some friends or something.
it's brilliant, and that's why I color matched your glasses, because it's part of your image and you're going out
Right.
with it. So I want to give you the best. Those are important things. A friend of mine and a mentor, David Hyra, he was famous for his red jacket. He
Mm.
had a red shawl type tuxedo jacket that he wore all the time with a black
Okay.
shirt and a bolo
Yeah.
tie. That was his image. Everybody knew him from that jacket. It was his signature. It was on his business card. It was everywhere, right? The
Sure.
V in David was the jacket, right? The shawls of the jacket. I mean, like, it was iconic. Everybody knew him as that. And that's the thing, is if you're competing with, you want to stand out and you want to own mental real estate, you got to have something that helps people remember you. And I think the glasses are brilliant. So I love it.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that's the way I would do that. And in fact, my logo, I was working with my one of my best magic friends, Josh Janowski, and he helped me make my logo, which I don't have with me anywhere right now, but you can look it up on my Instagram to help me reach 1,000. And
Description, everybody.
and um, and my logo is my glasses, uh,
Brilliant.
and uh, and I'm very happy with it, and I think that's been working as well. So yeah, so find something that and I love that term. So I'm going to steal that. I find something that allows you to peacock. But if you're like me and you don't want it to be necessarily permanent or semi-permanent, make it something like a jacket or glasses or something like that that set yourself apart when you want to.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily all the time. You don't want to go to Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning and have people with you.
Right.
Fair enough. Guys, that was the interview in Q&A with Kyle Purnell. Holy cow!
Hey,
Thank you so much for being here, Kyle. I really, really appreciate it.
no problem, man. It was fun.
Make sure you guys go check out Kyle. I have lots of links down in the description below. His Instagram. Go follow him on Instagram. I imagine you'll probably have updates to all the stuff you talked about, the Rainbow Road and your live stream, or I'm sorry, not your live stream, but your Penguin Live lecture and all that kind of stuff probably mentioned on there, I would assume. I'll be talking about it. Go check out his effects on Penguin Magic. There's links for, I have like 3 or 4 there, but there's plenty more that you can go down a whole rabbit hole for stuff. If you like the video, please consider subscribing if you're not already. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps me with the algorithm. And I will see you guys really soon. Kyle, thank you again. You have a wonderful evening. And I appreciate your time so much for coming to talk to me and the Minotaurs.
No problem. It's good to be with you. Good to meet you. And Minotaurs, don't forget, I think you're all a bunch of losers.
See you next time.
See you guys.